Hello and welcome to another tutorial regarding Vue and Firestore, Firebase, and PayPal Stripe to create some kind a commercial or e-commerce web page using Vue. In this part of the tutorial, we'll explain how to create a cart, okay, a buying cart where we store our products. The code is ready, so I'm going to explain step by step how I created it. Okay, so first of all, I will start by saying that I just created with VGC on the console. I generated this cart component, and I will work only in the HTML side and the JavaScript side because I'm gonna leave the rest to you. Okay. After I created the cart, the second step was to understand where to put it. I decided to insert the cart in the login register JavaScript element because it is in that section, just where is the name here, where I want to show the cart as well. Generally, in many web pages, we tend to see the profile and then the cart nearby because we want always to show the cart of the user that is logged in. Okay, so here's the same. That's why I'm adding it to the login register component, and in the login register component, I am showing it in the div which shows the user data once he's logged in. Okay, not the left and right login and register panel, because I want to show the information of the products that have been bought or have been chosen once only when the user is logged in. So this section here is the information of the user when it's logged in. We show the name, we leave a button so he can log out, and here we can see the cart. Okay, this is relatively important, but you can, if you want to decide to put it somewhere else, you are completely free to do it. We just have to take in consideration that because we are storing the cart later on under the user's profile, we may need to consider to use somehow to link it, to the user profile, and the user profile can only be received once the user is logged in. So this was relatively easy. We added this card to the login register, and because it's already changed, you won't see anything, but I will put here a small h1 so you can see that the cart is there, my cart. Okay, so it's a small text, so we can confirm that it is here. Okay, so everything that comes under it will be the cart. Okay, great. What is the next step? The next step is a bit complicated because we have to connect or create some kind of link between the cart, which is in the login register component, and the products. Okay, each time we press on I want to buy that product, I want to take that product or get that product, we have to somehow take that product and insert it in the cart. Now the problem that we have is that the cart component, which is inside the login register, and the product are completely in a different context because the product belongs to products, in the hierarchy, and products belong to intro. Okay, you can go here and see it, products. While on the other side, login registers, it's a sibling of product. There is no relation between both. So there is not really a direct connection which may allow us to use the property option to send information from component to component. In this case, you have to send the information from component product to component MyCart using a special method that is called emission of events. Okay, Vue allows us to emit events to a bus. I call it events list instead of events bus. But in general, it's an option that allows all components to release events to the wild, to everyone, and whoever wants to fish it, wants to grab that event, can take it and use it. So eventually, what we will do is that a product component will release an event to the sky, will throw an event to everyone, and whoever wants to grab it will take it and use that information of that event. And specifically, the one who will grab it is MyCart. So product will release an event, and MyCart will grab it, will take that event and use that information. To do all this, we first have to create, just like we created the Firebase. If I remember you well, I created a Firebase JavaScript file which contains some constants. We have to create a constant, a variable which instantiates, okay, which is an instance of Vue inside a file that I created as events list. So I called it events list, that variable. You can call it EventsBus. You may find some in many examples as EventsBus. So it depends on the developer. I just put it as event list, which may sound a bit less complex. So once I have this, which is really just an instance of Vue, I can use the functions that this object has, which is the emission of events and the reception or the listening subscription to events. Okay, who is going to emit an event? The one who is going to emit an event is the product. Inside the product HTML, I added this button here, which is the buy button. We can just check it here, the buy button here. And I associated a method, which is the buy method, okay, which I just, in the JavaScript, I just define it here. And what I did is each time the buy method executes, which means that each time the user presses on it, it executes the line 22. Okay, now the line 22 is really telling that event list, which I have to show you, I imported it here. Okay, remember you have to import the constant from the events list file I just created, the same way we did with Firebase. I execute emit an event named product purchase. We have to give it a string name, we have to name it, and as a variable, attached to that event, I am attaching the product, really, the LM element. Remember that LM received that information inside the LM is really the product. Let's not forget that. It's the name, the height, etc. Okay, and I'm sending it to the wild, to everywhere. Whoever wants to grab it will be able to grab it by saying, I want to grab the product purchase event and give me back the object that is attached. Okay, and as we mentioned before, which component we want to grab this event. It's MyCart. So if we go to mycart.javascript, I will see that up here, I imported the events list because I have to use it as well. Let's remember that the events list object is the one that will contain all the events. Okay, so it's important to have it always accessible. And down here, I'm telling him, instead of emit, I'm telling him by the way, you have to add this section, okay, the created section. We cannot use the mounted. This section executes when the component is created, is finished creating. Okay, it's very important because if we don't do that inside the created, the events list may not give it. The system will not have time to initialize the event list, and it will show an error. So it's important to add the created. Okay, the created doesn't really come with the component when we generate it, so we have to add it. Okay, so add it. And events list, you will see that instead of calling emit, I'm calling on, which I'm telling him to subscribe to any events named product purchased, which is exactly the same event as the product emits. Remember, there is the same name, product purchased, product purchased. The second variable will be the product that just the LM, okay? The LM, we sent from here, we send it here. And now I finally grab that information, and add it to an array up here, which I just defined. So in this array, each time a person presses a buy button, here the cart will receive the product and will just push it to an array. Okay, the array, I use it to paint it. So under the title MyCart, I execute this div with the for option, which is a loop, will execute this code whatever times the amount of times that the both products have, the list, and each time it passes by here, the product will contain the element in that moment, in that position of the array. So, and finally, I will print the name. Okay, I can even print the name and the height if I want to. For example, the name and the height. So if I test this, in theory, once I execute, if I press on buy, as you can see, it automatically added that, then that. Marsa doesn't have a height, but then it does. If I press that 3 times, I'm buying 3 times the product. So this can be fixed. You can always check if the array has already this kind of version, so you don't allow him to buy it again. Or if you are interested in him allowing him to buy it again, you can do it. But the point here is that you finally created a complete connection between the MyCart, which is in here, and the products. Okay, the emission of events is extremely important. There is no other way to do it, so it's important that you create also that file for future reference, and you obviously can use it for other events, not only for these ones. Okay. It's also important to know that it may be also interesting to once you add an element to the cart, is automatically change the list on the Firestore side. Okay, but that I will leave it for the following part of the tutorial.